It's Memorial Day, and it is a time that we remember the men and women who lost their lives in the military in service of this country to fight for freedom and to uphold the United States Constitution. So let's see what these brave men and women of our past died for.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep Mike's name out your fucking mouth.
Producers that hip hop has ever presented, the mighty Mad Lib. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for hip hop history.
It's believed at this hour, and it's been confirmed to ABC News by state police there in Connecticut, that 2 shooters were initially believed involved in the mass shooting. One of those shooters now dead. What's not been confirmed is whether or not that gunman took his own life or whether or not there was something that ensued after authorities began arriving at the scene. And now the big question will be, is there in fact that second shooter? And
at the center of the second deadliest school shooting in U.S. history, jarring new images of children jumping out of classroom windows to save their lives as outrage mounts on 2 fronts.
Have parents ever outright questioned the actions of law enforcement while it's happening?
From parents being pinned back and law enforcement waiting to act for more than an hour after an incident commander believed an active shooter situation had transitioned to a barricaded subject.
some on this stage have suggested a voluntary buyback for guns in this country. You've gone further. You said, quote, Americans who own AR-15s and AK-47s will have to sell them to the government, all of them. You know the critics call this confiscation. Are you proposing taking away their guns, and how would this work?
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Overnight, Minneapolis on fire. Protesters leaving an auto parts store in flames. Others seen looting a local Target.
Tonight was a different night of protesting.
All of it after demonstrators approached one of the city's police precincts.
We're about to lose the front of the precinct if we don't move this crowd out of the front.
Colors in a revealing 2015 interview.
We actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists.
Visit the Black Lives Matter website and read the list of demands to get a sense of how deep a transformation they seek. One of those demands proclaims, quote, we disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another.
Events on college campuses are prompting questions about free speech. This scene happened earlier this month at UC Hastings with progressive law students shouting down a speaker during a debate. A few weeks later, another incident broke out at Yale Law School with more than 100 students attempting to shout down a bipartisan panel on civil liberties.
That's right. What are your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for a political discussion.
But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it.
I was ignorant when it comes to this space. So when my child came home at 8 years old, we were living in Chicago at the time after I left Miami, which we talked about. My child came home, and the reason my child didn't come home, it was an assignment that was done at school. An assignment at school would say, tell me about yourself. And this was the time where Zaya took the time to say, I'm black, I'm this, and I'm gay. At the time, Zaya said, I am gay.
And I'm transgender.
Have you talked to mom and dad about your pictures?
What do you think of taking those photos down? The constant reminder that I had to pretend I was a boy.
Do you think a mom would ever want to watch me do drag?
How do I explain this to my child that she doesn't fully accept Novella?
Making friends has been a hard thing for me to do.
According to current research, pedophilia is an unchangeable sexual orientation, just like, for example, heterosexuality. No one chooses to be a pedophile. No one can cease being one. The difference between pedophilia and other sexual orientations is that living out this sexual orientation will end in a disaster.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yep.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yep. Catch me outside, how about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside, how about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
Bad Baby, who's 19, showed off her new digs on Instagram. The mansion has 7 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and a 2-story guest house. Last year, she claimed she earned $1 million on OnlyFans just 6 hours after she joined when she turned 18.
The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
To anyone who's pro-life out there that is like, not your body, your choice, that's the baby's body, baby's choice. Hi, I'm a former fetus, and I just want to let you know that if you need to abort me for any reason, fucking go ahead. That's totally fine. I understand.
Maternity shoot with my brothers at a tattoo shop. All the comments were negative. People were saying my baby is going to be born with a whole bunch of tattoos. I was laughing, but I said I'm going to get back at her. Trailing first tattoo photo shoot at 6 months. My family was very upset. I get a lot of backlash. People say I'm raising him as a gangster, a thug.
She's the actress best known for playing a young Superman's best friend on Smallville.
I can explain later. I did what I had to do.
But this morning, Allison Mack is due in court, facing sex trafficking charges after being accused of involvement in helping to recruit women as alleged sex slaves for a secret sorority within an organization called NXIVM, based out of Albany, New York.
We know that British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell has been convicted on 5 of the 6 charges that she was facing, along with Jeffrey Epstein, on the issues related to soliciting, sexually abusing and sexually assaulting and trafficking young girls and women.
Of 5 felonies, all of which center around sex trafficking and conspiring to sex traffic.
Let's talk about that gender-related issue with Ghislaine Maxwell being the woman in the middle of these scenes, and Jeffrey Epstein will not face justice. And so many of the other men who've been accused but not necessarily charged in connection with what Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were doing, are charges going to be brought forward against them? What about the culpability of the many, many men who were involved in this?
That's a very good question and an important question. So let's talk about Prince Andrew. He has not been criminally charged with anything, but he has been sued by a woman named Virginia Roberts Giuffre. She has sued him for sexual abuse when she was underage, and that case is proceeding here in the U.S.
This confrontation between a woman and a police officer all started over a mask.
Stop it! Let go of my wrist!
At a middle school football game in Ohio Wednesday, a woman in the stands refused to put on a face covering, violating the school district policy requiring spectators to wear masks at games.
You're going to jail. That's assault. You're going to jail. As soon as we get it later, you're going to jail. Karen, they spit on me. They double goes to jail.
2020 has been harder than any mom and pop shop could have imagined.
Really taken a toll on small business owners this year, financially,
honestly, in every way possible.
9 months into the COVID-19 pandemic, many of them are hanging on by a thread.
We don't know from month to month where our income is going to come from. I just really encourage everybody to shop local as much as you possibly can, because you're not supporting companies with millions of dollars. You're supporting a mom and a dad and a child.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have never seen prices this high. At this particular station, take a look. It is now $7.49 for a gallon of regular gas. And unfortunately, this isn't the only place where it is going to cost you a lot to fill up. Look at this video. Prices are up all over the Southland. The average price for a gallon in LA County now $6.15. That is a new record, and coming just when people are starting to plan their summer getaways. AAA estimates nationwide close to 40 million drivers did take trips 50 miles or longer for the Memorial Day holiday, which is back to pre-pandemic numbers. But experts don't know how many people will be able to afford travel this summer. Gas prices have already surged around 30% since Russia attacked Ukraine in late February, and there doesn't appear to be any relief in sight.
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a...
Something incredibly disturbing and illegal. After telling my entire story of abuse to the FBI in the summer of 2015, not only did the FBI not report my abuse, but when they eventually documented my report 17 months later, they made entirely false claims about what I said.
Willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that?
Yes.
You are?
That's the commitment we made. We support the one China policy. We support all that we've done in the past. But that does not mean that China has the ability, the jurisdiction to go in and use force to take over Taiwan. So we stand firmly with Japan and with other nations not to let that happen.
When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed so much in life, a sorority girl stereotype. Sure, I'd spent my life around inspiring women, but what had I really achieved on my own? One of my sorority sisters was studying abroad in Italy. Another was climbing Mount Everest. And after meeting with an army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength and maybe shatter some stereotypes along the way.
Yeah, we suck. And I'm surprised our great-grandparents haven't came back from the dead just to punch us in the face. And also it's funny, but May is Asian Heritage Month. And that's kind of ironic, especially when you consider the issues that America's had with Asian countries. That's besides the point. Don't matter. But let's remember the brave men and women who lost their lives in pursuit of freedom for this country. And I'm sorry that we're just squandering it away. But what are your beliefs? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, like this video and share it with your friends. Also, I want you to subscribe to the YouTube and Rumble pages, Royal Family Studios, and do all that good stuff. Help us out to beat the algorithms. Comment on those videos as well. I'm your host, TJ Evans, with TJ Evans Show. Y'all stay safe, stay prayed up, and